let's talk about the Heat for a second because I think it's worth talking about. This is flipped to -1, by the way. So I still like it there, obviously. Miami's on a 6-game losing streak. 7-game now. It's getting bad. It is not good. Not the spot that you necessarily want to be in here. And that's bad. Teams with a better than 50% win percentage who've lost at least 5 in a row are 31-22 straight up, 26-24 and 3, 52% against the spread in that spot. When they've lost 6, or at least when the streak's gone to 7, how about 7 and 6, 8, 4 and 1, 67% ATS. Small sample size there, obviously. This to me honestly is more about Sacramento and about where they're at in their season, because I don't have the necessarily power rated really strong. I think this is a bad travel spot. You're in Miami, you get the Miami flu, and I don't necessarily love the way that a Kings team that plays pretty sloppy this season, like they are a mistake prone team this season, and that to me is a big edge towards Miami, who I know will at least play disciplined even if they don't play well. They are a mess. Now I will say this, Jay, I'm gonna I want your cap. Give me the cap, and then I gotta tell you some stuff. So give me your cap first.
Yeah, I like the Heat here. There's not a ton of stats that's going to back it up. I do think this is a bet against spot for the Kings. It's a bet on spot for the Heat, and it's a bet against spot for the Kings. They've won 4 straight. I'm still not a buyer of this Sacramento team. I feel like they surprised a lot of teams last year. This year, we know exactly what they're going to do. They know that their style of play. They're not really sneaking up on anybody. This is the 4th game of their like 7-game road trip as well. They're 0-2 straight up and against the spread in the first half in the 4th game of a road trip here. So, I mean, you said it, day off in Miami. There's a ton of things that I could say here. Not always will there be stats and things like that I can throw with my play. Obviously, I kind of just go with the field, but this is a field that I think I'm going to win. I think the Heat come out here and smack the Kings up, and I don't think they look back. And I do think they're getting off this 7-game losing streak here. They're a perfectly type of built team that can give the Kings problems on offense and on defense. And I like the Heat here early and often.
No Duncan Robinson in this spot, which is actually pretty problematic. He's been great for them this season. I'm actually not going to give you numbers. I know that you're like hinting at that. You're like, I'm not going to care about whatever bullshit stats you're going to throw at me, Matt.
No, I wasn't saying that, man.
No,
I was
I'm
just
just
saying
joking. I'm
I
just
didn't.
messing with you.
I was saying I didn't have the numbers.
So here, okay. I listened to 5 Reasons on the Floor with Ethan Skolnick, who's been covering that team for 20 years. He runs a site called 5 Reasons Network, and they've got a Heat podcast. And the types of conversations that they are having are not, how did they pull out of this? What's wrong? Does this really mean anything? How do you fix the offense? Should you move Tyler to the bench? They're talking about, like, is it time to break up the core? Locked on Heat, another podcast I listen to, is like, I've never seen Jimmy like this despondent. That there is something going on with Miami. Now, look, this is very important. You will hear like reporters and insiders say stuff like that, like something's going on. And the answer is that like it may not be like an irrevocable thing. It may not even be a 2-week thing. It may just be like they're not in a good place. Teams are often in a bad place. You know what makes them in a pretty bad place? Losing 7 in a row. That will make you in a pretty bad fucking mood. But even though I'm taking this Heat spot because I'm just like, look, the history says that this is a good spot for Miami. This is a bad spot for Sacramento. I'm going to go ahead and back it. I do think it's worth noting that if they lose this game, it's an indicator of how much worse things are than we think, because like even more so than the last game, like this is the get right spot. Like this is the one where it's like you circle the wagons, you rally the troops, you do all the cliches, and you get the home win versus a West Coast team in with the South Beach flu. If they don't win this game, Jay, I'm gonna move Heat to like DEFCON 2. It's like destruction is imminent if they can't find a way to get this win done.
Yeah, it's an absolute must-win spot. These are the spots that I love. No one's gonna want to take the Heat here, and I mean they were favored by 3.5 over the Suns, which actually like 4.5, which was a little fishy. It was kind of seeming like all right, Sharps are on the Heat here. It didn't matter; it got their teeth kicked in. But the Kings aren't the Suns in my opinion, and so I just feel like this is a perfect matchup, perfect spot for these. Even if they do have things going on, I think this is a really great spot for them to get a much-needed home win. This is a desperate team, and personally, I'd never bet against a desperate team. So I think the Heat come out here with a blowout win.